Why does protein folding sometimes fail? So there are three major reasons for this. So the first one is a person might possess a mutation that changes an amino acid in that protein chain, making it difficult for a particular protein to find its preferred fold or native state. Ito yung mga case for inherited mutations, for example, those leading to cystic fibrosis or sickle cell anemia. Itong mga mutation ay located sa DNA sequence or gene that encodes one particular protein and its related function. Next is protein folding failure can be viewed as an ongoing and more general process that affects many proteins. When proteins are created, the machine that reads the direction from DNA to create the long chains of amino acids can make mistakes. So scientists estimates that this machine, or the ribosomes, make mistakes in as many as 1 in every 7 proteins. So these mistakes can make the resulting protein less likely to fold properly. Then even if an amino acid chain has no mutation or mistakes, it can still not reach its preferred folded shape because proteins do not fold correctly 100% of the time. So protein folding becomes even more difficult if the condition in the cells, like acidity and temperature, change from those to which the organism is accustomed. Yung failure sa protein folding is nagkakause siya ng several known diseases, and scientists hypothesize that many more diseases may be related to folding problems. And merong dalawang different problems na nag-occur in cells when their proteins do not fold properly. One type of the problem is called the loss of function. So yung loss of function results when not enough of a particular protein folds properly na nagiging dahilan ng shortage of specialized workers na kailangan gumawa ng specific job. So these are the examples. So imagine that a properly folded protein is perfectly shaped to bind a toxin and break it into less toxin byproducts. Without enough of the properly folded protein available, the toxin will build up to damaging level. Next example is a protein may be responsible for metabolizing sugar so that the cell can use it for energy. The cell will grow slowly due to the lack of energy if not enough of the protein is present in its functional state. So yung reason kaya nagkakasakit yung mga cells in these cases is due to lack of one specific properly folded or functional protein. Again, kaya nagkakasakit yung mga cells in these cases is due to a lack of one specific properly folded functional state. So cystic fibrosis, Tay-Sachs disease, Marfan syndromes, and some forms of cancer are example of diseases that results when one type of protein is not able to perform its job. Kaya naman talaga napaka-importante ng isang protein sa loob ng 10,000 of proteins. Then, how do our cells protect themselves from misfolded protein? So, misfolded or aberrant proteins are not only waste of energy for the cell, but they are also dangerous. These aberrant proteins typically have exposed hydrophobic regions which cause them to clump together into aggregates which can accumulate and cause severe diseases. The cell has two lines of defense laban dito sa mga misfolded proteins, and ito yung molecular chaperones and proteasomes. So yung molecular chaperone helps protein fold correctly while yung proteasome naman destroy misfolded proteins through the proteolysis. These molecular chaperones and proteasomes impede over the proteins. Tapos kaya nagiging matagal yung pagiging misfolded ng protein, either because chaperones haven't reached it or because they haven't succeeded in fixing it. The more likely it is that a proteasome will degrade it. One of the important functions of chaperone proteins is that they assist in protein folding and also rescue the misfolded protein back to its normal conformation. Yung chaperone, it is worked by binding due to exposed hydrophobic patches on misfolded or incomplete folded proteins and hydrolyzing ATP. So some of the energy expended by the chaperones is used to perform mechanical work, but much more is used to ensure the accuracy of protein folding. Yung protein na tinutulungan ng chaperones para mag-fold properly is tinatawag na client protein. Another line of self-defense against misfolded protein is called the proteasome. So proteasomes are so important that they constitute almost 1% of cell proteins. They are dispersed throughout the nucleus in the cytosol. If the proteins fold correctly and quickly, then none or only small bit of it gets degraded. A slowly folding protein is at risk for a longer time, and more of it might get destroyed before the remaining amino acids attain the correctly folded state.